Welcome to another episode of Economic Podcast, the podcast where we travel beyond the textbooks and delve into the economic landscapes of various countries to discuss the development, challenges, and policies. I'm your host, Dilu Okuk, and today we have a special guest from our team, Victoria Koi, an expert in the Southeast Asian economics. Joining us today also will be Terry Kasman, an economist with a focus on fiscal policies, and Brietta Nete, who has an extensive knowledge about Papua New Guinea's economy. Today we will be discussing Papua New Guinea's economic state, recent changes in GDP levels and standard of living, as well as the fourth medium-term development plan goals. Additionally, we will be exploring how the government uses fiscal policies to combat and solve economic issues. Let's begin with an overview of Papua New Guinea's current economic situation.
Absolutely, Dilu. Papua New Guinea, PNG, is a country located in the southwestern Pacific Ocean with a population of approximately 9 million people. Its economy is primarily driven by agriculture, extractive industries like mining and petroleum, and service sectors such as tourism and finance. However, in the recent years, its economy has been facing some issues with low commodity prices, political instability, and infrastructure constraints.
Thank you for the background information. Now let's dive into some specific numbers. According to the World Bank data from 2020, PNG's GDP was estimated at around 17 billion USD, with a growth rate of approximately 1%. How does this compare to previous years?
The country's GDP growth rate has been relatively stagnant over the past decade, with an annual growth rate of around 2%. However, these figures are influenced by external factors such as low commodity prices and geopolitical instability.
So the Asian Development Bank, according to the news release on the 17th of April 2024, the slow growth rate in 2023 was due to decreased production in the resource sector, but it is set to grow by 3.3% in 2024 due to resumption in production at the Porgera gold mine. The midterm development plan remains positive, with a growth in 2025 forecast to further expand to 4.6%. The looming challenges of this positive outlook are the foreign exchange restrictions, the frequent power disruptions, and the fallout from civil unrest in January.
That's right. Okay, now let's talk about the living standards in PNG. So the HDI, Human Development Index, is a tool to measure the country's overall progress towards sustainable human development based on three dimensions: health, education, and income. So according to that, Papua New Guinea is ranked 154th out of 189 countries in 2020 with a HDI value of 0.568. How does this ranking compare to other countries in the region?
Well, compared to other countries in the Pacific Islands region, countries like Fiji, which is ranked 135th, Samoa ranked 146th, I believe, PNG still lags behind in terms of the human development indicators. However, it is important to remember that these rankings do not fully capture the complexities and nuances within each country's unique socio-economic context.
Absolutely correct. Now let's move to discuss the specific goals outlined in PNG's HTDP. What are some key objectives outlined in this plan?
So the government is currently, as you said, using the fourth midterm development plan to double the growth in the economy of PNG within a decade to create 1 million jobs. So World Bank experts and strategic advisors made observations of key economic sectors that needed improvement to support the government's vision. The most notable ones being the PNG education sector, the state-owned agencies, and the PNG power to provide uninterrupted power supply. So the fourth MTDP focuses on several priority areas, including promoting economic growth through private sector development, improving service delivery, enhancing social welfare, strengthening governance, and ensuring environmental stability. These objectives aim to address both short-term challenges as well as the long-term development of this country.
That's great. Now let's discuss fiscal policies. How fiscal policies are being used to address these economic challenges mentioned earlier, such as low commodity prices and political instability.
The government has implemented several fiscal measures to stimulate economic growth during low commodity prices and political instability. For instance, there has been an increase in public investments on infrastructure projects such as roads and bridges, which help boost the private sector activities within different regions. Additionally, they have implemented social safety net programs which aim to reduce poverty levels in certain populations during times of uncertainty like political instability or the event of a natural disaster.
So according to an article published on the 21st of June in 2022, when Porgera Gold Mine, the largest exporter and revenue bringer, was shut down, the Marape government deployed an effective deficit budget as a strategic tool to impact the economy, creating jobs, keeping the economy's liquidity supplied by both revenue and debt. So when they deployed this, inflation was expected to rise from 2.3% in 2023 to 4.5% in 2024. To prevent this, the government increased tax rates, but this initiative was met with civil unrest as the public did not want to pay higher taxes. Thus, the inflation rate in 2025 is expected to rise to 4.8%.
Once again, great insight. In conclusion, while Papua New Guinea has seen some positive economic growth over recent years, there are still significant hurdles when it comes to reducing poverty levels and improving overall standard of living for its citizens effectively using government policies under the MTDP goals. The MTDP goals require careful planning combined with transparency and accountability mechanism during the implementation process at both national and local levels within this complex political landscape. We've come to the end of another great episode this week. Thank you all to my viewers for tuning in and being with us. Thank you to our special guests Victoria Koi, Tara Kasman, and Briata Nete for joining me on this episode and sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Dilu, for having me. I love your podcast, so to be here was exciting.
Thank you for your lovely remarks. And once again, thank you for tuning in and see you all next week.